John, I've met you a couple of times before, and what strikes me, your positive demeanor, your invariable smile, yet you're somebody who endured a lot, professionally and on a personal level. How do you keep that? How do you stay positive and bright?
Well, I think it's probably my nature to begin with. I think, you know, I've always seen the glass half full innately. So I don't think, I think that's a fact. And of course, since I've had the pressures of fame, I think, you know, my religion has helped me tremendously keep positive, because they've helped me combat the pressure of being famous.
Well, you say religion, Scientology.
Scientology, yeah. It's a religion.
Yeah. What is the worst thing about fame that you needed this kind of religion to help you with?
Well, I would have needed it anyway, but I think I just didn't realize how much, because I was involved before I was famous. I just didn't realize how much it was going to help me. And I would say that's based on, well, you know, you live a very isolated life. And so there's a price you pay for isolation. And then when you go out to live life, socialize, you also have the stress of everyone knowing who you are. And then you have the media as well, which is something that you learn early on to kind of put in its own perspective. You know, you keep it at a distance because there's no way of controlling that. You know, the media will always have variations of interpretations of what your movie is, what your personal life is, what your activities are. They're always going to vary and have their own take on it. So to try to control that is like a test in futility.
So you are a Catholic originally. Catholicism was not as effective in dealing with these issues?
Well, it would be a different approach, because Scientology is a workable technology as well. I mean, you have tools to actually use in life for life, and they're designed for every aspect of life. So it's much different. There's actual things you can use.
Well, in the film now, your film, The Forger, it's a heist movie, yet it's truly about your character's relationship with his son who is dying from cancer. You're someone who has lost your own son to a cruel disease. How emotional was it for you to play this role, and how much your own personal life overlaps with your acting or feeds into it?
My life has been filled with variations of loss, but my biggest loss was the loss of my son. So that is part of me. But when I portray a character, I'm the kind of actor that uses the moment that I'm in. My mother taught acting, and she taught more of a kind of acting as believing and pretending. So I become in the moment with the actor I'm with. And sometimes it's a good thing. But if the actor you're with isn't with you, then sometimes it's a bad thing. But when you're working with the level, quality of actors that I'm working with usually, they're with you, they're simpatico. So you can act with confidence that you will be able to react to what they're doing and what you're doing. So I'm in the moment where if this young actor's playing my son, he's my son. If this man, if Christopher Plummer's playing my father, he is my father. And Ty Sheridan is my son. So I become that in the moment that I'm playing it. Maybe in the 50s they would have called it existentialism or something.
This is a moral test of oneself.
I do believe Marcellus, my husband, your boss, told you to take me out and do whatever I wanted.
Whether or not you can maintain loyalty.
It's interesting you say that because you play a lot of villains and you are so far away from a villain.
Yeah.
And you always give them this charm, your charm. You always color them with your own charm. Do you deliberately do that, or because you want the villains to be more entertaining than just being...
Usually, two reasons.
Yeah.
I find that it's always more entertaining to have a charming villain than a non-charming villain. But I actually find villains in life are kind of charming. You see? Meaning that they need to fool you. They need to give you a false... They give you a sense of certainty about who they are, but they're actually not who they are. They could be stealing you blind, but they're so charming that you don't look at that, you just look how charming they are. Do you see? It's a distraction from what they're really up to. Do you see? So it's what I've observed that real villains in life are about, that they wax enthusiasm, but underneath it often is a vicious intent.
So they are good actors.
Oh, they're the best. They're the best actors, you know. Or, you know, organically, yeah.
It's interesting because you began your career as in the music and dancing, and frankly, everybody remembers you. Still, they remember you fondly as the dancer, singer.
Hydromatic, ultramatic. Why could be grease lightning?
From Saturday Night Fever and Grease. Why have you abandoned that kind of career, the music and dance? But you haven't developed it into a career of music and dancing. And as you say, you do the... Yeah.
Because I try to... Because the truth is my real success was music and dance and movies. So, like Hairspray, I incorporated it again in music and dance. But musicals are far and few between. So I've always felt like my primary career was film. So if I couldn't incorporate song and dance and film, that it would be, it's a whole separate career to devote to song and dance. And I didn't feel I could do both. I had to choose one, and if I could overlap with dance and song, then that would be great too. You know, that's what I do.
And the other thing that after you reach that the stardom, which international stardom, thanks to your musical skills and your acting skills, there was a time in the 80s where things kind of cooled down with you, but then your career flourished again thanks to a small movie, Pulp Fiction from Quentin Tarantino. But yet, you remained firmly in Hollywood, making big Hollywood movies. Weren't you tempted to go back and do smaller movies?
You mean like The Forger, the one that you just saw?
Yes, but if we look at your career in general, after Pulp Fiction, you have the Face-Off, you have all these big
but
Hollywood
I've always
movies.
laced it with, and maybe I would be erroneous to assume that you're familiar with every movie I've done, but through all those movies that were big studio pictures, I also did She's So Lovely, Lonely Hearts Club, Bobby Long, The Killing Season. These were all small movies.